You can't always get what you want. Or can you? Today on rLounge, it's important to learn some big lessons at a young age. But not everybody does. Some people never learn. Lesson number 1. Sharing is caring. Am I the a-hole for repairing my yard after my mother-in-law destroyed it? So, for background, my mother-in-law lives in my basement suite. Not the issue, a lot may think it is due to not being able to speak the same language, and she babysits my 4 and 2-year-olds when my wife and I work. One day, after noticing that my son, 4 years old, wasn't able to drive his ride-on car onto the patio because it was 2 inches above the yard, she opted to pile up soil and gravel on the grass to create a ramp so he can go up onto the patio space with rather than just having him drive the car in the yard clockwise where he could already drive up onto the patio space. The logic behind this still escapes me. I take pride in my yards. I like having nice, soft, and even grass for the kids to play on rather than a dry, patchy, half-barren stretch of dust. She knows that. She knows the work I put into it. She even made sure I knew it was my wife that burned a patch in my grass last year trying to deal with ants by pouring boiled water on it because she didn't want me thinking it was her, but she still piled soil and gravel on a section of the backyard in the early spring, and I hadn't noticed till it was time to begin my annual yard work preparing for the season. Trimming hedges, killing weeds, first mow, reseeding, fertilizing, etc. By then the damage was done. Grass was gone. Soil packed tight like concrete. Loose gravel spread all over the yard like landmines from my mower. Blade is chewed up now. It took me the afternoon to dig out, loosen, and level the soil again, to pick up all the gravel and an entire 5 kilograms, 11-pound bag of lawn patch and repair, mulch seed fertilizer to fix it. It will be late into the summer before it begins to look like it's filling out again. Today, after a light rainfall overnight, I was checking to see if it needed more watering when my mother-in-law stormed out trying to tell me that the pile of soil and gravel has to be there for my son. I lost my cool in return and angrily signaled to her that he can still drive the car. While doing things, she just goes clockwise around the yard and through the patio. She stormed back into the suite and later told my wife that if I didn't like how she was babysitting the kids, I can take care of them myself. I do. She just does it when I'm actually working. Again, I struggle with the logic there, as the issue was that my yard was destroyed in an attempt to not get my son to change direction when he drives his little car, and not that she isn't watching them. My wife has taken her side, arguing she has the right to do whatever she wants to our property. Am I the a-hole for repairing my yard after my mother-in-law destroyed it? Update. The 3,000 character limit prevented me from explaining that this was not a one-off incident. My mother-in-law has done permanent damage to the yard on numerous occasions, doing things without so much as mentioning it, including the cedars that line the perimeter of the yard for privacy now has a hole in it because she decided they were supposed to look like the neighbor's pine tree, not cedars. I caught her after doing just the one. Pruned a huge spherical hedge into a mushroom so she wouldn't have to duck under branches or walk around it. Tore out decorative ivy and a large flower garden in the front yard to make it a vegetable garden because the 7-foot by 20-foot vegetable garden in the backyard was apparently not enough. She repeatedly shows she doesn't care what we are doing with our yard. Additionally, I'm not mad about the extra work. I'm mad that she felt she was in a position to chew me out for undoing the work she did undoing the work I did. Let's get some community judgments. Narake says, "Here is where I say that you don't have a mother-in-law problem, you have a wife problem. Your mother-in-law made changes. Your wife was happy with them and you changed them back. No communication. I'm going to say everybody sucks here. Just making changes without talking to someone is low-level, petty, passive-aggressive crap." Informal Bobcat 2698 says, "Everybody sucks here. Firstly, you obviously don't spend that much time in the garden if you didn't notice it for weeks or months. Your mother-in-law should have absolutely asked before changing anything. Why don't you make him a temporary wooden ramp? There's more than one way to fix a problem." Eskimo Boob chimes in, "On top of that, OP already admits it's going to take all summer to look normal again. So why not just let the kid have fun of driving on the already created ramp? The kid's going to be this age only once. There's plenty of time for a boring, perfect lawn. I think everybody sucks here, but mother-in-law meant well." Sad Affected 1104 says, "Not the a-hole. If that's true, then you can go and rearrange her closets or kitchen or whatever space she considers hers. The yard is your project. Does your wife want to be responsible for landscaping?" I'm sorry that you have to deal with a mother-in-law who repeatedly chooses to disrespect you and your property, OP. There are a lot of valid comments here in terms of how to move forward from this. I'm not sure your wife should have sided with your mother-in-law on this, but because she's her mother, I'm sure that's why. There's also some things to consider here. For example, if your mother-in-law pays rent, considering she does live in the basement suite, Does she have her own section of the yard that she can use, or a shared space? If she has her own section, I feel like it would be understandable for her to be able to do what she wants with it. And I think the fact that she watches your children while you're working has nothing to do with what can and can't be done with the lawn. If it's your property and you pay a mortgage on it, I don't think you're being the a-hole here. What are your thoughts? If you don't have anything nice to say, would you say it or keep it to yourself? Let's see what our next OP thinks. Am I the a-hole for telling my mother-in-law if my husband's baby mama goes on vacation with us, then I will not go? Alright, so I'm not going to say much backstory besides my husband, John, fake names, has a 6-year-old daughter, Sophie, from a previous relationship. He was with her mom, Emma, from when they were 14 till 19. They had Sophie when they were 18, and they weren't together, but they were messing around until I came along. I have been with my husband for 3, almost 4 years, and we've been married for a year with a 9-month-old daughter, and I'm currently 15 weeks pregnant with another daughter. I love Sophie to death, I really do. I view her as my own and treat her like so, which has been perfectly okay and completely encouraged by my in-laws and husband, and me and Sophie have an amazing bond. This Christmas, we're supposed to be going to California to go visit my extended in-laws with Sophie, my 2 daughters, mother-in-law, father-in-law, sister-in-law, and 2 brothers-in-law, so that the girls can meet their great-grandma and all of their cousins around the same age. The plan is to go there and stay at John's great-grandma's house because she had just moved into a huge house with multiple rooms, and I've been excited in planning this trip for my husband and girls for a while. Well, yesterday, I was hanging out with my mother-in-law grocery shopping, and she casually mentions that Emma is planning on coming on the trip, but nothing has been set in stone. I asked questions about living arrangements, and she's supposed to be staying with all of us in John's great-grandma's house. John knew nothing about this, by the way. I get upset and tell her that I am not okay with that, and feel it's disrespectful to bring her with us to stay in the same house as John's wife and expect us to act like a happy little family when this is not her family anymore and never will be. And I understand she's Sophie's mom, but that's all she is. Nothing more, nothing less. And if she's going to bring her along, then me and my 2 girls won't go. Instantly, my mother-in-law snaps at me that I'm a selfish, ungrateful witch, and I have no right to put them in that situation, and she's as much as family as I am, which I do not agree with. And we just argued until she took me home, and things have been tense since. I'm in no way trying to get in the way of Sophie and Emma's relationship, and I'm not trying to replace Emma. We get along now, but there were problems in the past of her not giving John his court-ordered parenting time, which is why I'm so adamant about her not coming for Christmas. John has never been allowed to have Sophie for Christmas until this year, when we kept threatening court, and so she finally buckled down, and I just don't think it's right for her to impose that way when it's the first year having her. I also think it's straight disrespectful to treat me and her like we are the same. She is John's past. I feel that she is not the one married to John, so she is not part of John's family. So, am I the a-hole for telling my mother-in-law if my husband's baby mama goes on vacation with us, then I will not go? Edit. My husband fully agrees with me and says he wouldn't be comfortable with her going either, and he will not go either if his mom is going to let her impose on his first Christmas with his daughter and get in the way of his court-ordered parenting time. Edit. Christmas vacation is our court-ordered time. On all odd years, we are supposed to get the first half of Christmas break, which is the first 11 days, and that's when the trip is. That's like John asking to go on their trip to Miami this summer with Emma's mom and grandma. It's not right, and it's imposing on specific time that was set out for us. Final edit. We talked to John's great-grandma, and she had no idea these plans were in place, and she was not happy about it. So it seems that mother-in-law and Emma planned this with nobody else's approval. She was on my side saying it was disrespectful, and she's not going to let her impose on John's first Christmas with Sophie, and she thinks it's weird Emma even wants to come in the first place. So she's not letting that happen. I'm honestly relieved. Thank you all for the judgment. Most of you said I'm not the a-hole, and it makes me feel good to be validated. I appreciate you all so much. One of those judgments comes from a deleted account. Holy crap, not the a-hole. It needed saying and shutting down right then and there. But I'd let John handle it from here on, though. Iluraya chimes in, not the a-hole. I wonder why your mother-in-law is so lenient with a woman who pretty much screwed over her son by denying him his visit. The OP replies, it's always been this way weirdly. When we were threatening court about parenting time, mother-in-law was calling and harassing us and saying awful things about us, not thinking of the kids, and we are taking away from her routine, and if things have been this way for so long, why change it? And things like that. Hot Wind 6062 says, do you think she favors Emma more or likes Emma more than you? The OP replies, I think it's a little deeper than that. His mom can have narcissistic tendencies, and we've gotten into disagreements over how she talks to me and me not doing exactly what she says. But Emma bends to her every whim, so I think it's more that I'm the only one who doesn't let her just say whatever. Whoa, It does seem a little weird that Emma would even want to go, considering the history. And it's strange that your mother-in-law has her side. But I think you're right. There has to be something brewing beneath the surface. Your mother-in-law probably says these things just to get under your skin and to test how far she can go with you, which isn't fair to you. But that being said, it's a good thing you spoke up and expressed how you felt. At the end of the day, your mother-in-law shouldn't have anything to say about what choices you and your husband make for the kids. It's not up to her. It's up to the two of you. Not sure why she thinks her opinion matters. Thoughts? Next up, our next OP shows us why it's important to not be an enabler. Am I the a-hole for refusing to give up my Neopets account to my niece? Throwaway account. Okay, so I'm upset and confused, and I told sister or brother-in-law I would post here to settle this argument, so they will be seeing and reading this. For those who don't know, Neopets is a virtual pet game site that was really popular around the late 90s, early 2000s. It kind of died a bit for a while, but has recently started to get popular again. I've been playing for years. My account is 18 years old, and it has the stats to reflect that. Pets, avatar, stamps, gallery, trophies, etc. If you don't play, it may not mean a lot, and not to brag, but I have a rather impressive account due to the fact I have been playing so long. I, 34 female, have no kids. Not child-free, just don't have any. My sister, 32 female, and brother-in-law, 34 male, have a daughter, 11 female, who has been very sickly all her life. I'll not go into exactly what is wrong with her, but she's been in and out of hospitals a lot in her young life and recently had to go back in again for a few weeks. I recently learned that she's been playing on neopets.com for a few months to help pass the time when she's not feeling well. She's really gotten into it, and from what my sister says, talks about it a lot. She was excited to learn I also play, and we talked about it when I visited her. I looked up her account and gifted her a bunch of stuff. Expensive stuff that would be hard for a newer account to get. In-game stuff using in-game money, which can be kind of hard to earn in large amounts. Anyway, long story short, she asked me how I can afford the stuff I sent her. It was worth millions of NP, and how I have all the stuff my account has. I explained I had been playing for 18 years, did every plot, event, etc. Well, apparently she got upset at the huge difference between our two accounts and asked for more stuff. When I told her no, she started crying to my sister and brother-in-law about it. My brother-in-law came over and asked if I could gift my account to my niece for her upcoming birthday, which she has to spend in the hospital. Said it would mean the world to her. I said no. I've had this account since before she was born, before we even met my brother-in-law. I don't want to get rid of it. I still play on it literally every day. Well, he got mad and tried guilt-tripping me. I'm an adult and she's a child, and it would make her happy in a rough time of her life. I'm happy to help her learn the tricks and trades of the game, but I'm not giving away my account. He tried to buy it off me, but I still said no. Now he is super pissed and got my sister and parents on their side. I'm being hounded every day for this, and being called an a-hole because it's all my niece will talk about, and she really, really wants it. I feel bad because she's just a little girl in the hospital and guilty for not giving it. I offered to send a bunch of stuff to her account again, but she wants my stats, so she's not treated like such a newbie who doesn't know anything by other players too. I feel guilty for this, but I want to keep my account. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Wow, I didn't expect this to blow up like this, much less make the front page. Thank you everyone for your responses, and for the rewards coins, OMG. I promise I'm reading all of them, and I'm making sure my family has the link so they can read them too. Hopefully we can have a civil conversation about it after reading this. I have a nice NC background I know my niece will love. I plan on sending her for her birthday. I'm glad if anything this post reminded everyone to feed their dying pets. Let's get some judgment. 75 O'Hara says, not the a-hole. And if you could ask your brother-in-law if I could have his car please, as it would mean the world to me. The OP replies, I tried that logic. He, and my parents, said it's not the same because a car is a real world thing with monetary use and value, while Neopets is just a virtual game that can disappear at any time if they shut the servers down. 75 O'Hara says, so can money in a bank. That's all virtual numbers. Seeing all the banking collapse, trading short issues, as no government is still on the gold standard. Also, I just quickly Googled, and a Neopets account is worth roughly an average of $35 per 50 million points, so there's real world value. That's not including special items, etc., let alone personal value to it. Yes, the account is virtual, but the time spent on it isn't, and if the Neopets account has no value or is just a game, then your niece doesn't need your account, as her account is the same. PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye, Ninja, etc. made millions from playing games, but I bet your family think they need real jobs. Our next judgment comes from Do I Want to Know 6417. You've been playing for 18 years. It obviously means a lot to you. I'm sorry for your sis and your brother-in-law that their child is sickly. But what a bunch of entitled a-holes to insist you just give these 18 years of your life up for your niece. Her parents are obviously used to giving in to her every whim. They should start parenting her and teach her that the world doesn't revolve around her, not the a-hole. And please don't give her your account. She should learn to work for something instead of having it handed over because she wants it. Captain Riker's judgment says, not the a-hole. Keep it. Stop giving her stuff. You're only enabling her sense of entitlement. You're not the a-hole at all here, OP. Although it is quite sad that your niece has to be in and out of hospitals, the comments are right here. It's still important for a child to learn to work for something. You're being a good auntie by teaching her that she can't have everything she wants. What would you do? And thank you for joining us today on rLounge. Before you go, be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you have something you want to say regarding today's content, share that with us in the comments below.